You brought up wine. This transitions beautifully into our last little segment here, TJ. Let's talk about some wine. I think we should start actually with the beginning of your wine journey. If you could just tell the story of why you got into wine and stopped drinking beer.
So I'm from Pittsburgh, Steel City, Iron City Light. Like, people love their beer. And, I went home after my rookie year, didn't really know how to diet that well. Wasn't eating the greatest food and, drinking a ton of beer. And I came back, and this is Brian Colangelo's first year with the team. And he thought when I came back to play pickup that I was one of our assistant coaches. He's like, why is there an assistant coach out there playing pickup? And they're like, no, that's TJ McConnell. And he's like, oh, and I think Todd Wright and him said this. They were like, wow, that guy looks like a truck driver.
That guy looks like a truck driver.
So when I was told that, I said, it's time to stay away from beer and transition to something, a little more socially acceptable. And ended up being, I've become obsessed with it, and JJ has only enhanced that.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit of what sort of is like the turning point in your wine journey, because you're super into it now. We should mention your Instagram feed that you have with a buddy called Off the Glass. I get it. A little double entendre there. I love it.
Yes, thank you.
So go check that out. You can follow what TJ's drinking. But what was sort of the turning point? Was it a gradual sort of obsession, or was there like a moment or two where you're like, oh, this is great?
Okay. So, I started off, and I think a lot of wine people, and people getting into wine start off with Cabernet because, that's just what they do. That's what I've read and heard, unless you're someone like JJ. But I started off with my buddy. His name's Alex, who, we started drinking Cabernets and all that stuff. And, I feel really bad for JJ because in the beginning of my wine journey, I was drinking Cabernet, and he would sit there with me and one of our other teammates, Jared Bayless. And we would be drinking Opus One, Camus, who are, they're good wines in their own right, but, they're cult wines. And I would look over, and JJ would kind of just be holding his nose, drinking.
I was going to ask you this, TJ. Do you consider JJ to be a wine snob? Because he's been accused of this by other people we've had on this show, including your former teammate Tobias. Told an amazing story about this.
No, that is an absolute fact. JJ has turned me into a wine snob. It's like, so we would be drinking the Cabernet, and he'd be like, tastes like lentil soup, and it was just the funniest thing ever. And then the thing that ruined wine for me is JJ introduced me to burgundy. And that's like the end of the rainbow, the end all be all, but you have to have some pretty deep pockets to be able to afford burgundies night in and night out. And JJ can, and he introduced me to it. And when I took the sip, Domaine Ponceau, I think that was the first one me and JJ tried. I was like, how can wine taste like this? And it changed me forever.
To be clear, hold on. I want to be clear on something real quick.
Here we go.
First of all, I should mention, I cannot believe you made me drink Camus. And people look, I'm very appreciative of all gifts, but for some reason, people that find out I'm into wine and they'll like come over, we're hosting a party, let's say. They'll come over and they'll like, what do? You bring a bottle of wine. And what do people bring? They bring me Camus every fucking time. I don't want to drink this. And it literally does taste like lentil soup, like 4-day-old lentil soup mixed with a little bit of gasoline. I don't want it. But I don't drink like Grand Cru, Ponceau, and Dujac every night. Like that's not a realistic thing.
I have to tell you another story. JJ brought over to my apartment in Philly I think it was a $300 Barolo.
2010 Bartolo Mascarello.
And I think it might have been corked. And he brought it over, and I couldn't tell the difference. It was early in my wine journey, and he has this bottle and we're drinking it, and he's like, oh, this is not good. I think it's corked. Pours the entire bottle into the sink, and I'm like, this guy is out of his mind. Like, I couldn't tell the difference either way. I'd be able to tell the difference now, but he was like, the night was ruined for him. He was like, I'm so sorry. I can't believe it was corked. I'm gonna bring something else. I was like, it's okay. I swear, it's okay.
I had gifted TJ the bottle. I had gifted him the bottle. I want to talk a little bit.
We could do a whole segment on the show of just JJ's wine freakouts.
We have so many.
Everybody.
Well, it was a gift to TJ, so I had got a nice shipment of this Bartolo Mascarello is my favorite Barolo producer, and 2010 is a great vintage. And look, it's young, but there's a window early on where you can drink it, and then you should sell it away for 10, 15 years. So I had one of the bottles, and I was like, wow, this is good. I want to share this with TJ. I want to give him a bottle. I did not know that we'd be drinking the bottle together, so I was just a little disappointed that the bottle did not show well. And looking back, I mean, we should have just given it to like Val or something. Just be like, here, Val, here's some great wine. She wouldn't know the difference.
She wouldn't have known the difference.
I want to ask you so one of the fun things for me has been like the wine exploration. And I know you're like super into Pinots, but is there anything that you're sort of exploring, any regions, grapes, that you could share with our listeners and viewers?
I want to try to get into the Italian stuff. You've taught me a lot about Barolo and whatnot and different grapes, but I'm so in love with Pinot. I'm exploring Santa Barbara right now, and me and you had a wine from Santa Barbara in the bubble that I'm a big fan of called Potek. And I just think it is just such an underrated region for Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. I have just been doing a ton of research, and there's a lot of people and winemakers out there that, not practically unheard of, but, not super big on the wine scene. And the Pinots are just being made so well. I'm in love with the region.
Santa Rita Hills. There's a very unique thing about the way that Santa Barbara County juts out into the ocean. So Santa Rita Hills takes advantage of this cool ocean breeze, and it's the most, in terms of climate, it's the most like Burgundy. So you're going to get some amazing Pinot Noirs from the Santa Rita Hills in Santa Barbara, outside Santa Barbara. You brought up Italy. I want to share a wine that I actually had yesterday from Sicily. The producer is Eduardo Torres Acosta. The wine's called Versante Nord. It was fantastic. It's like 14% alcohol, got some tannic structure, but lots of fruit. It's like a $35 bottle of wine. And I think the value there is insane. I would highly recommend it. Also, my wife, while I had some of that, my wife was drinking Chosen Family Rosé. I know we had Kevin on, who just joined the Chosen Family. And we had Channing on, who hyped Chosen Family. I know you've had Chosen Family too, but I always love giving those guys a shout out. The rosé is fantastic. Also would highly recommend that. We got 2 questions left for you. I'll take one. Tommy will take the other. What's your favorite restaurant on the road?
Okay. There is a place in LA that JJ practically made the reservation for me and my wife. It was called Giorgio Baldi.
Oh yeah.
It is like I'm sitting in there, like, first off, he made the reservation for me and Valerie. I'm like, cool date night. Amazing vibe. And I look to my left, and he's sitting there having dinner with someone as well. And we have the table right next to him. I can't make this shit up. I walk in, he's like, Teach, yeah, table here. And I'm like, all right, man, can't wait. Let's do a double date. And he sends over this amazing bottle of Barolo, and there was this pasta with truffle that I just haven't forgot about, and it was like 3 years ago.
Do you have a spot that's like not like Cheap Eats, but like a sort, like we have this taco place in Bushwick called Nene's that's like the best birria tacos I think that I've ever had, and I think JJ's probably ever had, and it's kind of like a hidden gem that like you know about, but like you feel like other people have never heard of?
So my food game, like every time we would go to eat somewhere, it would be because of JJ, and I would put it in my notes because you know, didn't want us to ever split up as teammates, but knew it was probably going to happen. So kind of just kept that stuff in my back pocket. I don't go out exploring looking for the little places. I kind of just like say, I'll text JJ and be like, hey, we're in this city. What do you recommend? And he'll be like, and he'll send me like he'll call me and it'll be like a TED talk on all the places that we need to go to. I was like, I don't need, an hour long conversation. I just need a couple of restaurants, man.
Dude, this is how I'm wired though. I can't help it. Dude, my mom's staying at our apartment. My mom, years ago was a sculptor, and my dad was a potter, and she and her friend did this sculpture, and it won all these awards. And the pharmaceutical company Merck asked that they install it at their headquarters. So she's staying at my apartment this week. And this morning I spent like 45 minutes sending her a Brooklyn guide of like outdoor activities, coffee places, lunch places, salads, dinner, whatever. I'll make you reservations. Like I just like doing this shit, man. TJ will actually, I don't know, he doesn't do it as much anymore, but like, for a while there, every time he went out to dinner without me, he would text me a picture of the wine list and be like, what should I get?
100%. And Tommy, I'm telling you, like, if you ever ask in a city, like where you should go to dinner, if you ask JJ, like what bottle of wine you should get, like text him or call him 3 hours before the dinner, because
you need time.
You need time. He's going to give you a rundown. He's going to dissect everything. But as jokingly as I say it, I'm very appreciative of him.
What's the go-to Pittsburgh spot?
There's this Italian place in a suburb of, it's called in Beaver. It's called Mario's, and I think it's some of the best Italian food in Pittsburgh. It's a hike from the city, but really good. BYO. It's JJ would everyone would be staring at his bottles at that place.
I actually thought when you said Italian place in Pittsburgh, I thought you were going to be like, there's a place in Chartreuse Valley called Carrabba's.
I thought you were going to say Olive Garden or something like that. That's great. Thank you, JJ, so much.
What's it called? Chartreuse? Is it Chartreuse Valley? I can't get this right.
I've told you this like 60 times. It's Chartiers, Chartiers, Chartiers Valley.
Okay. All right. Whatever.
JJ, I think we need to make a trip to Pittsburgh. We're going to go on
dude, I'm down.
We're going to go on a food. TJ, when you're back there, we're going on a food trip to Pittsburgh, because I've never been. I heard it's super cool. Everyone loves it.
We'll make it happen before the season, maybe in September. TJ, your free agency is going to be great. I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you. Congrats on a fantastic season. And one other thing, like about us splitting apart, you do realize I'm like 10 years older than you, and I've got to retire. I'm not saying it's now, but I've got to retire at some point. So at some point, you're going to be in the NBA, and I'm not going to be in the NBA. That's just how this works. Okay.
Well, I just thought you were invincible, man. Like you're like Superman to me. I grew up watching you at Duke and all this stuff. So I thought you were never going to retire. My bad. I won't hold you to such a high standard. That's on me.
A lot of people watching this may be like, this is a bromance, but the reality 100%. Is TJ's like the brother I never had, except I have a brother.
Tommy, he said that to me, and I knew he had a brother. He's like, man, you're like the brother that I never had. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, you have a brother. And like instantly after I thought that, he goes, but I have a brother. And we just erupted in laughter. It's just like that dry sense of humor. If you don't get JJ's sense of humor, you will just be like, what is this guy talking about?
My brother's like one of my best friends. He's the man. He's my brother for real. I love my brother.
Great guy.
Great dude. All right, TJ, I love you like a pretend cousin. I'll talk to you soon, bud.
All right, guys. Thanks.
See you, dude.